The small town of Willow Creek was never the same after the bakery opened its doors to the public. It had been a long-standing institution in the community for generations, but it wasn't until they changed their hours that people began to notice something strange. At first, it seemed like a minor adjustment, opening at sunrise and closing late into the night. But as time went on, residents started to report feeling an inexplicable sense of unease whenever they walked past the bakery before dawn or after dusk. Some even claimed to have seen shadowy figures lurking in the windows, their faces obscured by the early morning light. As the days passed, people began to experience vivid and disturbing dreams that seemed all too real. They would find themselves standing outside the bakery at 3 a.m., staring up at its imposing facade as if drawn there against their will. The townsfolk tried to brush it off as mere coincidence or exhaustion, but deep down they knew something was amiss. One stormy night, a group of brave souls decided to investigate the strange occurrences surrounding the bakery. They crept inside, finding themselves in an eerie silence that seemed to swallow all sound. As they ventured deeper into the shop, their flashlights casting flickering shadows on the walls, they stumbled upon a single word etched into the counter: "Rise." The group froze, unsure what it meant or who had written it, but as one, they knew they would never set foot in that bakery again. The small town of Willow Creek was never the same after the bakery opened its doors to the public. It had been there all along, but it wasn't until sunrise that the sweet aroma wafting from its oven signaled a new beginning for the residents. At first, people were thrilled with the addition of the bakery, especially since it offered freshly baked bread and pastries at unbeatable prices. However, as time went on, strange occurrences began to plague the town. Residents would wake up in the dead of night to find their windows open, only to discover that they had been closed before bed. Some even reported hearing whispers from an unknown voice. The bakery's owner, Mr. Jenkins, was a kind and gentle soul who seemed oblivious to the growing unease among his customers. He took great pride in his work, often staying up late into the night to perfect his recipes. His dedication to baking had become an all-consuming passion that bordered on obsession. As the days went by, people began to notice that Mr. Jenkins' behavior was becoming increasingly erratic. One stormy evening, a group of friends decided to investigate the strange happenings in Willow Creek. They gathered at the bakery, determined to get to the bottom of the mystery. But as they entered, they were met with an eerie silence and an unsettling feeling that something was off. The air inside seemed heavy with anticipation, and the smell of freshly baked bread hung like a trap, drawing them deeper into the heart of the bakery. It was then that they realized, Mr. Jenkins had been baking not just bread, but their deepest fears as well. And now, it was time to take a bite. The friends tried to flee, but the doors were sealed shut, trapping them inside with no escape from the sweet-toothed terror of Willow Creek's bakery. The town of Willow Creek was never the same after the bakery opened its doors at sunrise. It started with small things, the sweet aroma wafting through the streets, enticing everyone to come and sample their delicious pastries. But as time went on, people began to notice that something was off. At first, it was just a feeling of unease when they walked by the bakery in the morning hours. The windows were always spotless, but there seemed to be an air of quiet intensity emanating from within. It wasn't until the townsfolk started reporting strange dreams and vivid nightmares that people began to suspect something sinister was at play. Rumors spread like wildfire, whispers of a dark ritual taking place in the dead of night, with the bakery's owner, Mr. Jenkins, as its mastermind. Some claimed to have seen him whispering incantations under his breath while kneading dough, and others spoke of hearing eerie laughter echoing from within the shop after hours. One stormy evening, a group of brave souls decided to investigate the bakery for themselves. As they pushed open the creaky door, a warm light spilled out onto the wet pavement, beckoning them inside. But as they stepped into the cozy interior, their hearts sank. On every shelf and counter, rows upon rows of perfectly baked pastries seemed to stare back at them with an unblinking gaze, each one bearing an uncanny resemblance to the faces of those who had dared to enter before. The bakery's owner smiled warmly from behind his counter, his eyes glinting with a knowing light. "Welcome to my Sunrise Bakery," he said, as if they were long overdue guests. And in that moment, it was clear, some secrets are better left unsweetened.